I never thought I would see the Bucks win an NBA championship. I almost shed tears last year when it happened. So
Welcome inside MASL Midweek with Michelle Gingras. I'm Michelle Gingras, and my guest this week is Tony Walls, a member of the St. Louis Ambush. You are coming off of a big win over Kansas City, a nail-biter where you netted the game winner. So we're going to talk about that a little bit. We're going to talk about the start to your season so far. And also, we just want to get to know you a little bit better. That's kind of the main point of this weekly podcast. So this is your opportunity to just share things about yourself with the fan base. And for me to just, ask you all the hard-hitting questions. So thanks for joining.
yeah, no problem. Thanks for having me. And before we get started,
Okay.
my mom has almost the same last maiden name as you.
Really?
But she
Gingras?
has one S, or she has two S's, so it's Gingras.
Is she French?
Well, she was actually adopted, but I think it is a French name. So, and it's
Huh.
rare because you don't see the last name very often.
You
So,
never do. In fact, this is so funny. I was just Googling it the other day because it's like it was in France first and then it went to Canada. So it's like a French Canadian, like down into the United States. And then I think like people with the last name settled in like Rhode Island and Massachusetts and stuff. So I was just trying to learn more about the history of it and the lineage. And you don't often hear it. And I'm sure she can also attest to the fact that you get all kinds of pronunciations of your last
hmm
name, everything
yeah,
except for Gingras. It's never just
yep,
like what it sounds like it should be. But that's so cool. Maybe your mom and I are somehow, I don't know, maybe we're related somehow.
maybe.
Okay, that's enough about me. Let's talk a little bit about you. Okay, so first of all, you had a big game against Kansas City. Your team had an incredible game, incredible showing. So first, let's talk about what that goal was like for you. I know you've been in the league for a while, but it's still pretty exciting when you score a game winner. So take me through that moment and just after for your team.
Well, first and foremost, like my teammates played a heck of a game. We had a good game plan, unique game plan, and I think our game plan called for guys to step up individually and win their battles and take pride in winning their battles, and they did that all game. When you look at Mo NDI,
Mm-hmm.
Big Mo as we call him, offensive player of the week. But I mean, that's one of the best performances, from a point standpoint, I've seen in a while. And then, our keeper Poyo, defensive player of the week. And then guys like Will Eske, Sam Guernsey, Marcel Berry, they're what they do doesn't always show up on the stat sheet, right? They win loose balls, they win tackles, they run their guy up the field, they win challenges, they scrap, they scratch, they claw. So it's a credit to them first and foremost. And then whenever you're on a power play, you kind of expect to score. I spun Sosa. I think he was a little gassed, and the cheeky toe poke. A lot of keepers, a lot of keepers don't expect it. And Neto's a big guy, so I think if I take another touch or I wait another half a second, he gets his feet
Mm-hmm.
right and he makes a save. So it was just our night. I think there was just an energy about the crowd and in our locker room that we weren't going to lose that game. And I think we have a really good core group of players. We showed it last year too. Florida
Mm-hmm.
came to our arena; they were undefeated, and we gave them their first loss too last year. So it's a credit to Jeff Locker, our GM, our owner, our coach, for getting a great group of players together. So.
You've been with this team now for a couple of seasons, and this year specifically, what have you noticed about just the complexion of this group that makes you guys unique and this dynamic that maybe could be someone or a team that could make some noise this year?
Yeah. The first week or two of preseason, I don't think we had everyone. I know Robbie was coming back from outdoor, Robbie Cristo.
Mm-hmm.
I think JT was over in England. So it took a little while to get the full group together. And I think, after a few sessions when we had the whole group together, I was like, we have a really, really talented group, and not just our first two lines. We have three lines. We have guys that don't even dress that could step on the field and make an impact. And that's a unique thing, besides, Florida, who has about, 35 talented guys. You don't really see that often in this league. So I think I think if we stick together and everyone buys in and we're willing to put the work in and we're getting better every day at training, it's kind of scary how good we can be.
Yeah.
So I'm excited.
Yeah, we saw a glimpse of that just on Friday night. But tell me a little bit about, you personally. Obviously, this is your ninth season in indoor soccer. So what do you see as your role this year? I mean, obviously you're a veteran on this team, but
Yeah.
what do you kind of see as your responsibility and your role both on and off the field?
I'm really competitive guy. I take pride in my craft. This has been my career the last 10 years. So,
Mm-hmm.
I want to contribute as best as I can. Unfortunately, I struggled with calf injury this year. It's lingering a little bit. So I've only been in 4 games. And then I had COVID 2 weeks ago. I missed 2 games with
Mm-hmm.
Tacoma. But, you hit a certain point in your career where it's like you want to help in other ways as opposed to just on the field. You know what I mean? You have
Mm-hmm.
experiences, you have knowledge, you can help guys that are new to the league or second or third year with just little parts of the game that will make them better players, and then ultimately that makes the team better as a collective group. So I just think it's important for me to dig deeper and look just past myself, you know what I mean, and
Mm.
look for the greater good of the whole team and just help as best I can. For example, Sunday was my birthday, and I had this nagging calf injury, and it was just I couldn't play. I probably would have strained my calf and been out another 2 to 3 weeks. So,
Mm-hmm.
I'm on the bench, I'm cheering, I'm doing the best I can to bring energy. And when guys come off, I'm saying, hey, maybe don't cheat on this guy. Maybe step, don't let him turn. Just little stuff like that.
Mm-hmm.
Trying to stay involved and just help in any way I can.
Is that challenging for you at times, though? Obviously, I know you want to be on the field, but you have to kind of make the decision, that you're a 1990s baby, right? So am I. So like we have to take
1990.
care
Yeah.
of our
Yeah.
bodies now, right?
Right.
So
100%.
how do you strike that balance?
It's difficult, honestly, and even on a day to day, in training, you're feeling tight, your calf is tight, but your adrenaline's pumping, and you want to keep training, you want to keep going.
Mm-hmm.
But the best thing is to sit out and just taper it back a little bit so you don't do more damage. It's making those mature decisions. You know what I mean? Looking
Mm-hmm.
looking past the here and now, in the moment, and looking towards down the road. It's not easy. It's not easy because, like I said, I've been in the professional environment for so long, and I know how important things like training are and producing are in terms of, keeping a job,
Mm-hmm.
right?
Mm-hmm.
Um, so it's tough, but you get to a certain point where you just have to do what you have to do. So.
When do you feel like, you spent, like I said, 9 seasons? When do you feel like you really kind of hit your stride with indoor soccer? Because I want to ask you about more in depth about this later on, but you played college, outdoor, MLS, USL, indoor. I mean, all of these are obviously it's soccer, but there's adjustments in every league that you have to make. Where do you feel like, or when did you feel, I guess, that you really hit your stride with indoor soccer?
Whew, that's a good question. My first 3 years in the league. So my first coach was actually Keith Tozer in Milwaukee. He's now the
Wow.
commissioner. And my first year, the league was actually MISL, so it was a completely different league. And we actually had 3 pointers. My first goal was a 3 pointer. So I've been around that long, and it takes at least 3 years to really grasp the game and get a hold of the game and just the tempo and using the boards and the changes and on the rules, top of the box, all that stuff. It
Mm-hmm.
takes a while. And we've seen players like Landon Donovan, an outdoor legend in the game. He came
Mm-hmm.
in and he struggled just because it is more like hockey almost with the
Mm-hmm.
physicality and using the boards and things like that. So I produced in Milwaukee. I had some good seasons here in St. Louis, but I still think I have some good years ahead of me,
Mm-hmm.
in indoor for sure. Outdoor, we'll see. It might be curtains for that, but I'm really grateful that I have indoor and that I have stuck with it this long, to be able to call myself a veteran in this league. So,
Absolutely.
um, it's tough to put a year
Right.
on indoor, where I hit my stride per se. But I did win a championship in USL 2015 with Rochester. I was the
Hmm.
captain of that team, first team all league. So I guess that would be
Hmm.
my stride outdoor. That was probably
Yeah.
one of my career highlights thus far. So
You were also, I mean, speaking of just adjusting to different leagues and positionally as well, you've had to adjust also because, in indoor, I believe you play what in indoor you're a forward and outdoor you were a defender and like an outside back, right? Am I right? Did I get that? I didn't
yeah,
confuse the
and
two.
a, and
Right.
a
So,
yeah, and a center midfielder. You did your
right.
homework.
So even if you're a yeah, even if you're an attacking defender, I mean, you're still having to transition and change the way you play the game when you become a forward in indoor soccer. So, what was that like for you? And just like, how has it helped you that you have, like, I guess, that defender mentality in a way?
Yeah,
Um, but then, what were the challenges as well?
yeah. So actually, Giuliano, the coach in Milwaukee, was the one that kind of, I guess he noticed that I was a pretty good finisher, and I guess when you say how does being a good defender contribute to, I guess, transitioning to forward and indoor,
Mm-hmm.
so for example, when they play the long balls off the boards, it kind of becomes a 50-50 ball between you and the defender. So that's when my instincts of ball winning and defending kind of come
Mm-hmm.
into play, and they help me, with positionally and getting first to the ball using my body to retain possession and keep the ball for my team. So he was
Mm-hmm.
Giuliano was actually the one that kind of said, hey, let's try him at Target. And that was 2014, 2015. So that was a while ago, and it's stuck ever since, you know, um, so yeah, I guess that's the story of that.
Do you
And,
think it kind of helps you, like like having played as a defender and having been back, kind of seeing the full field, even now in this new role, like the field or the court vision or the field vision is you can kind of see how the play is going to take shape before it does because of that experience that you've had in the past.
the experience outdoor or the experience playing
Just
defender
yeah, I mean
indoor.
defender or just in general. I mean just to I always compare it to basketball, like that court vision. Some people just have it where they can kind of visualize what they're how the play is going to play out before it actually
Yeah.
does.
Yeah, that's
Um,
funny you say that because I actually played basketball my whole life too. I actually played a year in college, so I was a point
did you
guard.
really
Yeah. So you
at Wisconsin?
at Wisconsin Green Bay, yeah.
Wow, very
Yeah.
good. So
Um,
I have like a million questions from that. Okay, so wait, so you played okay your freshman year of college. You're playing now both soccer and basketball at that point, right?
yeah.
How did you make the decision to go with soccer as what you decided to pursue long term?
Okay, so I kind of always had a hunch. I had I guess you could say, a better youth career in soccer, and I guess I put more time into soccer, I guess, throughout my youth career, and then I had like a really good freshman year in college. And for me to play after college in basketball, I knew it was kind of a
Hmm.
stretch. So at that point, it was kind of like, I think it was during winter break, and all my roommates were soccer players, and they were home for the month. You know what I mean? The month of January, you go home,
Hmm.
they have winter break, but I was up there the whole month of January alone, playing basketball and stuff.
Hmm.
And that's when I was kind of like, you know what, I could be using this time and progressing in soccer. And that's when I kind of made the executive decision to just focus on soccer and, go as far as I could with that.
I
Um,
mean, but you mentioned the basketball experience and especially being a point guard. I played point guard growing up as well. And so you do have to be able to visualize, just like what we just talked about with soccer. And
yeah,
I think that's kind of why I feel like I can ask that question because I know is kind of what it is as well. Like when you see the floor, when you're bringing the ball up the floor and you kind of know what it takes what you have to do to get to either the play that you want or to have to set someone up the right way. Do you find it's that there are a lot of similarities that you draw with the indoor game as well because it's a smaller field, it's 5-on-5, it's that same kind of
no, 100%. And
yeah.
like even a lot of the offensive systems that you see in indoor, I think Florida runs it. It's almost like, I don't know if I can use basketball terminology, but it's like a
Do
4-out,
it. Yeah.
1-in. You
Yeah.
know what I
Yeah.
mean?
Yeah.
Where you,
Yeah.
it's like almost like a motion offense where you play it
Mhm.
into the target, which is kind of like a post player, and then you have runs going off of that, and then it just becomes like a motion offense. There's so many similarities, and then just in the quick little movements, the change of directions that are really similar. The
Mhm.
anticipation, picking up loose balls, which would be equivalent to rebounds. There's so many
Mhm.
cool similarities, and we have a kid on our team, Marcel Berry, who's a big basketball guy. And if you ever watch him, he's the one with the long hair. I don't know if you
Mhm.
watch our
Yeah.
games or not.
Yeah.
But he's
Yeah.
so quick and anticipates so well. Before
Yeah.
I even got to know him, I asked him, I was like, "Did you play basketball growing up?" He's like, "Yeah, that's my favorite sport." And you can just tell, how he defends. He takes pride in his defending and his 1v1 challenges. It's really
Mm.
I don't know. There's
Yeah.
something about two sport athletes. I
Mhm.
think they really complement each other, especially soccer and basketball. So.
So I was going to ask you. Obviously, you grew up in Wisconsin. The Green Bay Packers are a big team there, but also the Milwaukee Bucks.
Mhm.
So do you have a preference? Are you partial towards basketball because that's what you
Yeah,
played growing
definitely
up?
partial towards basketball, but because I went to school in Green Bay, and you really see how passionate those people are up
Mhm.
there, and they live and they breathe for the Green Bay Packers, and especially because the way it's set up, the Packers, the fans are part owners technically. They
Mhm.
have
Mhm.
little percent
Right.
ownership. And I was actually up there my junior year when they won the Super Bowl, and it was a blizzard, and it was just we went downtown, and it was actually really cool to see.
Yeah.
But I never thought I would see the Bucks win an NBA championship. I almost shed tears last year when it happened. So that was
Did
pretty
you go to get a chance to go to the parade, or were you in season during that time, or?
No, I had to work. Yeah, I
Mm.
had to coach and stuff. I didn't have a
Mhm.
chance. I watched it on TV with my girlfriend. She's also from Milwaukee, and we it was really cool to see, and especially we have the brand new arena up there.
Yeah.
If you ever get a chance, you should try to go up there. But I don't know.
I
They showed the outside the arena was like 60,000 people, and I was
It's
just
insane.
so
Yeah.
proud to be from Milwaukee.
It's also just like, I mean, for you to see a Super Bowl, as you mentioned, your junior year of college, and then to see one of your teams win also an NBA title,
Mhm.
that's really cool. I mean, I went to school in New Orleans, and the Saints won the Super Bowl when I was a sophomore, and they basically, I mean, it just connects you to the city in a way that you can't really explain, and especially like New Orleans at that time, it was such a special time for them to win after Katrina and
Yeah, yeah.
everything, and so it was so significant. You were like, everyone was so unified by it, and just
Right,
even
right.
you telling your stories about going downtown, like we all went out after they won, and it was like, I mean, you can imagine it's New Orleans, so it was just absolute mayhem, but
Yeah.
it was just such a joyous time for the city, and you just connect with people, and you see how much a team can mean. um, and along those lines, I mean, the ambush mean a lot to St. Louis as well. Like, have you noticed how the fans really have bought into this team and the support that you guys get consistently?
Yeah, honestly, I noticed that the first year here. I mean, there's
Mhm.
fans that have been loyal fans to this organization for, 10, 15 years or whatever the case may be. And
Mhm.
the city of St. Louis in general, the soccer history here, the youth soccer, and now we have the MLS team coming here.
Mhm.
It's really cool to see the support we kind of have. And like, I already know, bringing a championship to the city would, be priceless for a lot of these people. And I think that's what we're focused on. I know that's what I'm focusing on, and sometimes it's um, you have to say it. Just you have to start manifesting it. You know what I mean? And I think
Sure. Yeah.
not to talk down on any of my teammates, but I for a while, the organization struggled. You know what I mean? And I don't think they ever even said the word championship. You know what I mean? Just because
Mhm.
we're going 1-19 and stuff like that, and and they were struggling a lot. You know what I mean? And that's one thing about ambush fans, they will be honest. If they're
Yeah.
unhappy, you know what I mean, if they
Mhm.
want to see something change, they will let you know. And I think that's good in a way. You know what I mean? It humbles you, and it holds you accountable. And
Mhm.
it makes you look in the mirror and say, hey, I got to step it up, or XYZ. So,
Yeah.
I think
Yeah.
bringing a championship to the 314 would be special.
All right, one last one before you go. I was going to ask you just what you do for fun when you're not playing soccer. And I know during the pandemic, you actually got your real estate license as well, right?
Yeah, actually,
So,
I got it this past summer.
okay.
Because
So
this is
what
my
did,
first season that I didn't play professionally outdoor in between indoor seasons. So it was time for me to start looking at what's next. Because my outdoor career, I don't know if I'll have another season
you
or
never
not.
know.
You never know, right? But it's good to have in your back pocket. So I've been doing commercial real estate since middle of June, and it's
Okay.
cool. I've been learning a lot. I got a couple land listings, and it's awesome. It's just you see all these retail strips and shopping centers and multifamily apartment complexes, and you don't really know the intricacies of
Hmm.
how it happens and whatnot. And when you start to learn about it, it's like, oh wow, it
Do
all
you
makes
find yourself like scouting out locations now, just like without even kind of realizing it, just when you're driving along, like places that could be potentially something down the road?
yeah, no, 100%. And
Hmm.
I'll just drive through my neighborhood. And I'm like, oh wow, that's a really cool mixed use building. Two apartments
Yeah.
on top and retail on the bottom. Like,
Yeah.
and then you just look at buildings a lot differently now.
Yeah.
Um, yeah, no, it's been good to me, and it's nice because you can kind of make your own schedule. You know what I mean?
Sure.
So, with the ambush season and whatnot, obviously that's priority number one, and then I try to take care of my real estate business as well when I have time, and then I have coaching too. So
Yeah.
I'm wear a couple
Dabbling in
different
a lot of
hats.
things.
Yeah,
Yeah.
yeah, yeah. Wear a couple different hats.
This was great. Thank you so much for taking a few minutes to just chat with me and to get to know you a little bit better. I really, really appreciated it. And best of luck to you this season.
Thank you. I appreciate it. I will reach out to my grandpa and see if you guys are
Yes,
related at all.
yes, we need to figure that out. I agree. We need to get to the bottom of that. This has been MASL Midweek with Michelle Jingris. You can catch these episodes every Wednesday right here. We'll see you next week.
Bye. Take it easy.